this book was translated into Swedish because many researchers are interested in Assyrian culture, Assyrian history, when they lived in their home country. This book is translated into Arabic too because of this reason.
Well, my really question was, what brought Assyrians from Mesopotamia, which were their ancestor land, for 7,000 years in Hakkari Mountains, which is part of southern Turkey, and it was part of Mesopotamia at ancient time. What made Assyrians to leave their country, and why they went toward Russia? I mean, what was the reason that they went to Russia? That was my question. But nevertheless, you explained that it was 18th century that they start moving from mountains and going toward Russia. But what was the reason, main reason that they had to leave?
Well, George, you know as well as I do that Assyrians lived on the territory of Turkey, Ottoman Empire, for 25 centuries since the fall of the Assyrian Empire. When the World War I took place and Turkish authority started a genocide against Assyrians because they were Christians, and they always were Christians, still are Christians. And Assyrians had to escape from Turkey into Russia, and they did in 1915. And Soviet statistics say that about 75,000 Assyrians managed to escape in 1915 to the area of Armenia.
This was true only Assyrians from Turkey went to that area, but because I know my parents from Iran, they went to that area. So what was this all movement toward Russia? Was it because they were trying to find work or safe haven? Was it because there are people from Syria and Lebanon also went to that area? It wasn't just the Ottoman Empire, particularly in Turkey. But the Assyrians from Iran, which were not under Ottoman Empire, also left. Is this for the same reason they left Iran, to find the jobs there or to have safe haven? Because they were a Christian nation? What was the main reason?
Well, I know that before the World War I started, there was immigration from those areas you mentioned them to Russia. They went to Russia in order to find a job and gain money, then send money back to their relatives. Yes, that was one reason. But most Assyrians found themselves in Russia because of World War I, because of genocide.
Because of massacres.
Because
yes.
of massacres, yes, right. And to speak about our tribe of Botan, we are Botanai. I belong to...
I mean, you're Botanai.
Yes.
Okay.
And my father and mother and other our relatives used to live in that district is called Jazira Botan. It is right at the border of Syria, Iraq, and Turkey.
Yes.
My
and Jazira is still there. It's in Turkey, right?
Yes, Jazira is still there, but the name of Botan is erased from the map.
No longer exists.
Yes, on today's map you can only read the name of this district, Jazira.
Yes.
Well, and I know that most Assyrians went to Russia in 1915, just because of massacres. But a few of them were in Russia before the World War I, because they went to Russia, well, for economical reasons, for looking for a better life, looking for
because they were a Christian nation, possibly that's another
Well, this is the reason. The biggest neighboring Christian country was Russia. It is very natural that they were always looking to this side, and Russian government was welcoming Assyrians.
And I understand there were some also forced migration during the wars between Iran and Russia, where General Paskevich came there and conquered that territory and took a lot of Assyrians and Armenian, including to Russian territory. Is it true, or is it something that I just...
That's true, and you can read about this in Russian documents. There was a war between Russia and Iran in 1826.
Yes.
And this war ended in 1828, and Russia defeated Iran army. Assyrians helped a lot Russian army. They knew perfectly this district, and they could show mountain roads for Russian army.
They were helping allies.
Yes, and as a reward, Russian government allowed for 2,000 Assyrian families after the peace treaty was signed in the village of Turkmenchai in 1828. 2,000 Assyrian families were allowed to move to the territory of Armenia. That was well,
so it was not a
Russia.
forced migration. Let's say they didn't Russian take them by force, take them to like the way Shah Abbas, the great Iranian king, took Armenian by force, took them to Isfahan. Because in the Persian history you read about that Armenian voluntarily were migrated to Isfahan, but we know the case that they were forced to be going to Isfahan to get, but they're populated. And Assyrian probably, some extent, they were taken there to maybe to develop that area. That's my detection. Maybe I'm wrong.
Actually, Assyrians always were seeking possibility to move to Russia. And why? Because they were Christians, and they always were seeking protection from the powerful and well and loyal country. And they were very happy to get the permission to move to Armenia. But this permission was given only to 2,000 Assyrian families. Many more were dreaming about moving to Russia. So that was done voluntarily. Absolutely.
But in your case, it was you escaped the territory of Hakkari from Botan, your territory, which is called district that's called Botan. You went, actually, you escaped according to what you have in your book, introduction. True? That's...
In our case, yes, it's clear absolutely that there was nothing left for Assyrians but to live. Actually, that was a flight, a mass flight to the border of Russia. They followed Russian soldiers. If they left in their country, they were killed all. No doubt about that, because nobody.
So they went to safe haven to Russia.
Nobody could survive in those under those conditions. So they literally fled.
Okay, so this is an introduction in your book, and I'm sure the English translation is very soon available, even though it was published in some magazines, Assyrian magazines, but it will be available to the readers. You, as a youngster, you were a little child, you moved to Russia, not to move, but you fled to Russia, and then your family tried to establish there, and then what happened? This was right after the Soviet revolution of 1917. What happened after that?
Well, my parents and thousands of other Assyrians escaped to Armenia. They were settled there and the Red Cross organization helped them.
What area roughly?
In the district of Erivan, today's Armenia.
Near Artashat now is it?
Yes, Artashat and 3 other villages, Dwin and Koilasa and what is another one?
Dwin, Koilasa, Arsni.
And Arsni, right. And Red Cross helped Assyrians to settle up in 45 Russian cities. Moscow, Petersburg.
Is it Russian Red Cross, or was it?
That was Russian Red Cross.
Yes.
which helped Assyrians. And Assyrians were settled up in 45 Russian cities: Saratov, Kharkov, Rostov-Don, St. Petersburg, Moscow, many other cities. And they lived there until the Russian Revolution of 1917 happened. Well, then they survived during civil war in Russia, and then they were in different cities. As to my parents and other Assyrians, they moved to Azerbaijan.